Hey everyone, Internet PCS book reader here. Today I want to talk about David Copperfield by Charles Dickens. I think I've been very open that English is not my first language, but I have not mentioned yet that I've not read much until very recently. Maybe an occasional Sherlock or two when I was a kid, but that's about it. Most of my reading is actually from reading manga and playing JRPGs. That's why I pretty much miss most of the classic like the one in this video, like David Copperfield. David Copperfield, who is not a magician, is considered an all-time classic. But the English use is so dated that some certain sets of words are just no longer used the same. At one point, it brings some necessary dramatic flair to the storytelling, but oftentimes it can feel a bit too much. I mean, listen to this part of a conversation. Does Britain Suffolk punches by wholesale? I should think so, said the gentleman. There ain't no sort of horse that I ain't breed, and no sort of dog, horses and dogs in some man's fancy. There we tease and drink to me, lodging, wife and children, reading, writing, and arithmetic stuff, thought packer and sleep. This kind of English is how the book is written, which makes it hard to follow because of how different it is to the current use of the English language, and it kinda stayed that way until the end of the story. But there is a reason why it's considered as one of the all-time classic, and I will get into that later. But first, David Copperfield is a story set in the perspective of a very observant boy that becomes the titular character. He was born after the death of his father, so he never had a father figure. But thankfully, he still had the inheritance from him, and he and his mother still live quite well with their servant Peggotty. His mother even started dating a guy named Murdstone, who only laughs at his own joke. Peggotty seems to have seen his true color from the start since she always stood fast at disliking him, and she was true. He's a manipulator who only shows kindness when he went after David's mom, until one day, David returned finding his mom has already married the guy. He became cruel and abusive, and he even bring his sister to the house to help him rule David and his mom. Until at one point, in a desperate attempt not to get hit, David bite his stepfather. He was brutalized after that and sent to a boarding house named Salem House, where he met a younger boy named Steerforth, who he looks up like an older brother because he is a charismatic guy. The story continues following David narrating his own life as he tried to find himself in a sea of characters of good and bad people and circumstances until he became an adult and even got married and have kids. My favorite book from last year, Demon Copperhead, whose initial is the same as David Copperfield, I just realized, which are DC, are said to be a retelling of David Copperfield, and I can really see the resemblance in the story beats. Both characters was raised by a single mother. The mother remarried, they met their first childhood crush while they're away. They were sent to some sort of orphanage where they are faced with becoming a child labor and general orphans abuse and met their childhood hero, another older charismatic orphan who turns out to be a condescending and self-centered scumbag once David got to know him more. Both books have so much in common, especially story beat-wise, but everything at the same time is so different. David and Demon are such different characters, and so are the rest of the characters. The theme of David Copperfield is mind-blowingly ahead of its time, with how progressive a lot of its treatment and portrayal of the problem that women have to face in society, especially at the time of the story, which is 1800. Clara Copperfield, David's mom, met with a manipulative man at the start of the story who took advantage of her kindness and abused her to her deathbed with the help of his psychotic sister. Murdstone, the scum, continues to find gullible young men to fall into marrying him multiple times after he kills David's moms. Betsy Trotwood, the strong-headed aunt of the main character that saved David from his stepfather and teach David how to have strong moral standard for himself. My favorite quote from the books came from her. There's, I don't mean physically, but morally. You are very well physically is a firm fellow, a fine firm fellow, with a will of your own, with resolution, said my aunt, shaking her cap at me and clenching her hand. With determination, with character, thought, with strength of character that is not to be influenced except on good reason by anybody or by anything. That's what I want you to be. That's what your father and mother might both have been. Heaven knows and been the better for it. And then there's never, said my aunt. Be mean in anything. Never be false, never be cruel. Avoid those three vices, Trot, and I can always be hopeful of you. But despite probably being one of the most badass characters in the book, she had to deal with being stuck in a toxic marriage to a deadbeat husband who is leeching money of her. Emily, David's childhood crush, was taken by Steerforth, who David introduced because young David was not aware at the time that Steerforth is a bad person who looks down on other people that is not himself. She was sold by Steerforth into prostitution, and then he left her to her death. Then Agnes Wakefield, who is probably the most emotionally mature character in the book, had to deal with his father being dragged into alcoholism and poverty by Uriah Heep, who not only is seeking for her family's wealth but also her body. And this art portrayal of women suffering in hands of mostly men in 1800s, which I don't think is done that much in media where violent woman was not given much eye in the public at the time. The book also made a lot of commentary about poverty in the Victorian era, which is strengthened by the fact that the book and a lot of David Copperfield's life is influenced by Charles Dickens' own life, going through journey of poverty in London. There's a criticism underlining people being so bogged down by classism, especially towards middle and lower economic class, and how the most emotionally intelligent characters are often the one who is depicted to be unaffected by this prejudice, like Agnes or Mr. Dick, a character who is quite likely to be on the neurodivergent spectrum, a person who acts like the wise fool who gave great advice to the character in the story. And both of these combined shown even more that good and evil are vastly different than rich and poor. But with all that praise, unfortunately, I don't really enjoy the storytelling itself. For one, the English is so old that I cannot get used to it until the end of the story. Then the melodrama is also really strong. There's a more dramatic flair to the storytelling of classic stories that just feels like they're too much for today's standard of storytelling, or at least the one that I'm used to. Not the kind that don't age well because they're offensive now, but more because it's the kind of story where the character might drop to their knee while it's raining and then shout to the sky while ripping their shirt off with their bare hand. That kind of dramatic flair. It's like watching overacting done in Disney children movies. Usually I don't really mind if it's just a couple of them, but most of the characters are either like that or see that as normal behavior. It's either that's just the kind of storytelling back then in the 1800s, or people do act like that in their life. Either way, it took me out of the story about each time the character does those. There's also a lot of randomly quirky character, like there's this one guy who appeared briefly on David's journey to his own, who said Goro and my limbs and my liver, etc. Each sentences he said reduced the story believability significantly for me. It didn't help that, like many classics, the book just over-explained everything. What the house looks like, what the trees looks like, what the leaves looks like, why the character do or didn't do certain things, why they said what they said or not said. It needlessly slows down the storytelling, and you can easily miss a few sentences while reading them because of how insignificant they are to the story and characters. But despite my misgivings to the storytelling, it is still such an amazing story and plot progression that I cannot help but be glad that I decided to read it, and I'm even more happy that Barbara Kingsolver decided to modernize it in her own style of writing. I kinda wish I read this first before I read Demon Copperhead because of how good it is and how much of a shame it is that I kept comparing it to the remake that I like more than the original. If you only have time to choose one, I would suggest reading Demon Copperhead instead of David Copperfield. But if you have the time to read both, I would suggest reading David Copperfield first, even if it's just to see how much this all-time classic influenced other coming-of-age genre and character progression since early childhood to adulthood. I give this a 4.25. What do you think? Are you gonna read it? Did I miss anything? Leave your thoughts in the comment below and subscribe to the channel. That's about it.